Hi everyone, it's Dave here. I had to do a video today with regard to the story at the moment regarding the disappearance and murder of the poor girl, Sarah Everard. But the reaction to it and the story around it and the way that the murder of a innocent person has been hijacked. I feel that this tells us so much of what is wrong with our world and with our country. So first of all, obviously, condolences to the family, and what's happened quite clearly is horrific and it's terrible. But what I want to try and work out in this video is, well, what does our reaction, the media's reaction and the public's reaction to this tell us about where we are and how we view ourselves and how we view the society in which we live? What I find absolutely staggering is the narcissism that this has brought out in so many people. I'm wondering why. I get that there are events that happen that capture the public's attention. Either that, or a certain story is given prominence by the media, which then captures the public's attention. And this is one of those instances. My first observation really would be, I don't understand why. We live in a country, actually, broadly speaking, that is very, in comparison, is safe. The streets are safe, not exclusively so, particularly not in city centres. And the situation, I believe, is deteriorating. And I certainly and obviously can't speak for the experience of being a woman. I can't. But I want to paint a picture. I think we need to remember the broader perspective here, that let's remember that, broadly speaking, our country is safe. So this narrative that's been created around this story now, that isn't the case, and that women are in mortal danger every time they step out the front door. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. I think it's backed up by crime statistics, and it's certainly backed up by certainly my own experience of living in this country, and the many women that I know in my life. None of them subscribe to this idea, which isn't to say that a discussion doesn't need to be had around this subject. I'm not saying that at all. I am tackling and taking on the story which has developed, as ever, an ideology and an agenda behind it. I think it's important to point out, actually, that men are more likely to be murdered than women. So let's just remember that as well. But we've gone from the terrible murder of an innocent person, an innocent woman, to all women are in mortal danger and it's all men's fault. I mean, there was even the ludicrous claim during the week that there should be a 6 p.m. curfew on men, a 6 p.m. curfew on all men. And I'm sorry, I can't even acknowledge the maybe the humour that could be in that, actually, because it's just so insane an idea that it should be laughed at. But I can't laugh at it, because whatever insanity times insanity times infinity again, whatever that gives us, that appears to be the world that we now live in. I do not put anything past the authorities now, no matter how deluded an idea. I really don't. I think we live in such dangerous times. Why have so many people made this about themselves under the guise of pretending to care about an innocent woman who's died? Why have people politicized it? Why was there a candle outside Downing Street last night? Why is this woman's death given more prominence than the countless other murders that have taken place in our country in the last few years? All equally as sad. Why? I don't understand it. And the reaction to it, it has been hijacked by narcissistic, attention-seeking individuals. I mean, let me read this tweet out to you. A friend sent it to me, because for me, it says everything. This tweet, I don't know who said it. Listen to this though. I'm deeply saddened by the authorities' refusal to engage and allow this vigil to go ahead. Today, I'm wondering how I can prepare my young daughter for a lifetime of harassment from men in public places. R.I.P. Sarah, we have to reclaim our streets. Honestly, I don't even know where to start with this. It's ignorant and it's arrogant. It's narcissistic. It's deluded. It's deranged. It's so sad. It's apocalyptic. It is damning. I'm wondering how I can prepare my young daughter for a lifetime of harassment from men in public places. Wow. We have to reclaim our streets. From who? And then there's the throwaway R.I.P. Sarah. This isn't about showing concern and showing condolences, sorry, for a young woman who's been killed. It's nothing to do with that at all. This has been hijacked and it's being weaponized to further a divisive agenda. Everything else is being used to further a divisive agenda. Now, let's try and divide men and women. Let's portray all men as criminals and all women as victims. And let's use this poor woman who's been killed, who's had her life tragically brought to an end. Let's weaponize her death in order to do that, to further our agenda. It absolutely sickens me. Who was talking before this? Who was talking about being scared? Which women were talking about being scared to go out on the streets? Who before this murder was tweeting things like this? And who was saying that all men are criminals? Who was suggesting the idea of 6 p.m. curfews for men because apparently we're all a danger to women? Well, I didn't see anybody. So why now? Well, because the media's told people to. That's how this works. The media takes a story, adds an agenda to it, and social media acolytes and hangers-on jump on in order so that they can stay relevant, on trend. And if they can be part of the victimized group as well, then great. If they can take the moral high ground, brilliant. It doesn't matter that someone's died here. That doesn't matter to these people. You can see right through it. It is absolutely disgusting. And then I'm seeing on social media posts that are being shared far and wide. And again, I think, well, I didn't see you doing this last week. Why now? It's because everybody else is doing it and you don't want to feel left out. You've got to be part of the in crowd. You've got to make sure that you are talking about the most relevant and up-to-date topic so that you are relevant, so that you are saying the right thing. Honestly, our society is, the more I see of it, the more I think it's got to self-destruct, and it will do. Before it can come back before it can regenerate, before it can regrow as something better, it's going to destroy itself, and it is destroying itself. And this is just the latest example. I mean, this vigil did go ahead. This vigil did go ahead last night, and fair play to them. If people want to go out and protest or have a vigil or any public gathering, in my opinion, regardless of what the cause is, it is our God-given right to protest. I think they're seriously misguided in what they're doing. And like I say, narcissistic, attention-seeking, that's what it is, in my opinion. But if people want to do it, they should be able to do it. But of course, we can't protest at the moment. Unless, of course, your Black Lives Matter. In which case, the police will watch and let crowds gather because that ideology is permissible. So they'll take the knee. They'll acquiesce because they're okay, because what they're saying, different rules apply to it. What happened last night? The police waded in heavy-handedly and it was disgusting. And every police officer who did that needs to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror. Yeah, you were told to do it by your commanding officers. You did it though. You did it. It is on you. So that's yet another angle to this. Honestly, I don't even know. There's so much wrong at the moment. You can't protest unless you're one specific group. If you do protest, the police are coming in, knocking people about, knocking innocent people about. Honestly, I talked about Black Lives Matter. That movement gained traction in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd. Yeah, again, it was terrible. It was awful what happened to him. But people going on Twitter claiming to speak for racial equality issues when they've never uttered a word beforehand, simply because they've been told to and they feel that they need to. What does tweeting a black square do? Or a Facebook post with a black square, I stand with George Floyd. What does that even fucking do? Excuse the language. What does it do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're doing it to stay relevant because you don't want to be ostracised. Most people, honestly, they who are doing this kind of thing, when you scratch beneath the surface, they're dictating to you about white privilege. What the fuck is white privilege? What a stupid term. Honestly, pretending to care. Sycophancy. Fake sympathy. Maudlin. It makes my blood boil. It's the same after terror attacks, isn't it? The hearts and I stand with Paris, I stand with Manchester. Do you really though? Have you really been personally affected by this? Or again, is it just fake compassion to make yourself look good and to make yourself feel good? What are you actually doing to improve our world? What are you creating? What's your message? What do you stand for? What do you as an individual stand for? Forget the ideology. What do you stand for? What are you doing yourself to make the world a better place? Divide and conquer and people just go along with it. Well, the world's not that simple. The world's complicated. That we have serious problems. And then a whole myriad of other problems. Everything requires a discussion around it, including, yes, how safe do women feel on this? Are our streets safe? I think broadly they are. I might be wrong. Someone take me to task. Let's have a discussion. But please, we need to have an intelligent, emotionally mature discussion. And to hijack a girl's death in order to further ideology, a left-wing ideology, it makes my blood boil. What are these third-wave feminists trying to do to our world? And why all of a sudden are people calling for the right to protest? So it's okay, or the right to have a vigil, the right for a public gathering. So it's okay for a group of feminists to get together to hold a vigil, and they should be allowed to do that. I agree, they should. But why are you not speaking for other groups who want to protest? Why not? Why are you not speaking up for people who want to protest about the fact that their freedoms have been taken away? Why is that not okay? But it's okay for feminists to protest about the murder of a girl, and it's okay for Black Lives Matter to protest. Why? It is quite clearly the worst case of double standards and hypocrisy imaginable. Either you stand for the right of everybody to protest, or you stand for the right for no one to protest. You can probably tell I'm angry today, but I see such levels of, like I say, narcissism, ignorance, arrogance, hysteria, derangement, selfishness. It's just absolutely horrendous, beyond belief, what is going on in our country. Hence why I do not believe that we have the emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, forget intelligence, emotional intelligence within this country, within our society, to solve our problems. I really don't. People are incapable of having a conversation. I think the far left have hijacked absolutely every organisational structure. They've hijacked the narrative. They inform the narrative. And divide and conquer is where it's at. Turn people against each other. Honestly, it is absolutely terrifying and horrifying. There's no integrity. There's no dignity. There's no integrity or dignity in the media, in the mainstream media. Zilch, none. Social media is a cesspit, particularly Twitter, an absolute cesspit of intolerant, rancid, fascist viewpoints. It is horrific. We do not live in an age where people want to have a conversation. Honestly, I just look on with utter, abject horror at this, at my country. I do. And then the rest of us, who's actually brave enough to take a stand? I'll do it. People can call me what they want. I can take it. I hate it, but I can take it. But people are so cowardly that they actually won't even comment on a social media post. Okay, someone that they agree with. You know, someone who's taken the time to try to impart an individual opinion, to try to elucidate their thoughts. People are too cowardly even to. I agree with this. I agree with what you say. In case someone from work sees it and they get sacked. That's how cowardly people are. It's absolutely atrocious. I don't see enough people with the courage to stand up to these unhinged, dangerous ideologues who, like I say, have hijacked not only the narrative and the story, but all organisational structures within this country. And unless people do start to find their voice and grow a pair, and start telling the world what they think, then we are going to hell. And this ends in the worst possible place imaginable. And people will wish a couple of years down the line that they would have said something. But still they won't. Because they're cowards. And it makes me sick. So, there we go. Please do let me know what you think of what I've said today. And subscribe to The Imperfect Individual if you want to hear more. I'm not usually this angry. I have to temper my anger every single day, temper my anger. But I hope I've been able to portray what it is that's in my head and hopefully mirror your own thoughts on this, or maybe give you some different angles that you hadn't thought of. Anyway, we're nearly 20 minutes in now, so that'll do for today. And yeah, speak to you soon. Bye-bye.